Hi, class. Today I am going to read another chapter of The Janitor's Boy, Chapter 19, Walk into the Light. This is by Andrew Clements. We're almost finished. As Jack walked silently forward every 100 steps or so, he turned off his flashlight. The light ahead of him grew brighter. Abruptly, he came to a T in the tunnel, and at that moment he learned why it was called the steam tunnel. Heat radiated from the large iron pipe, and there was a faint hissing sound. Where the pipe he had been walking beside met the pipe in the new tunnel, there was a valve with a large round handle. A steady grip, a steady drip of hot water had made a puddle on the floor at the junction. There was no guesswork now. The light was coming from the left. There was enough of a glow bouncing from the walls of the tunnel that Jack turned off his flashlight to let his eyes adjust to the dimness. The light grew stronger with every 20 paces, and coming around a 45-degree bend to the left, Jack stopped in his tracks. It was a place where two tunnels crossed, and the junction was like a tic-tac-toe frame, four corridors meeting at a center square. In the corridor to Jack's right, an old refrigerator stood against the wall below the steam pipe. Some coat hooks had been fastened to the wall beside the refrigerator, and a navy blue wool coat, a gray scarf, and a green backpack were hung up. On the left wall of the corridor, straight ahead, Jack saw a folding army cot with an olive green blanket folded neatly at one end, a pillow on top of the blanket. On the tunnel wall opposite the cot, there was a low wooden bookcase. A large black and white cat sat on the bookcase and looked at Jack with wide green eyes, a statue with a twitching tail. In the center square, a card table and one folding metal chair sat on a piece of dark green carpet. On the table lay a pencil and a newspaper turned to a half-finished crossword puzzle. There was a paper plate and a plastic knife, and an open jar of crunchy peanut butter. In the corridor to Jack's left, a tall floor lamp with a fringed shade stood beside a worn-out easy chair. The lamp was on, and in the chair sat a young man wearing black jeans and a tie-dyed t-shirt. A book lay open on his lap. Pushing a strand of long, blonde hair out of his eyes, he looked up as if seeing Jack appear was the most natural thing in the world. He looked curiously at Jack's sword. Nice sword. I've been listening to you coming for about half an hour now. Sound travels a long way down here. Was that you did all the yelling? Jack nodded. Locked myself in. I got scared. Pointing at the peanut butter, Jack said, Then I followed my nose. Taking a closer look, Jack guessed the boy was 17 or 18. Do you live here? The boy shook his head. Nah, I'm just hanging out for a while. Jack looked around. Where did all this stuff come from? Did you bring it here? Nope. I guess it's been here a long time. There's a guest list on the wall by the fridge, and it goes way back. Pretty strange. Jack was still trying to take it all in, but I mean, like the refrigerator and the electricity and everything. It's like a little apartment. The kid grinned and said with friendly sarcasm, That's what it is. It is, in fact, like a little apartment. I think you have now understood. You have now said about all that can be said about it. Jack didn't pick up on the sarcasm. What about the rats? The kid jerked his head forward toward the cat. That's Caesar's job. He comes with the place. So, like, you're allowed to be here? Jack asked. The boy shrugged. Allowed? I don't know. And I don't care. All I know is that until my dad calms down or gets some serious help, I'm spending my nights right here. I mean, it's a little spooky and I don't have my stereo, but it's a whole lot safer than my house is right now. And John said I could use the place. So, yeah, I guess I'm allowed. Jack knew Right away he knew, but he asked to make sure. John said you could use the place. John who? John the janitor. Works at the old high school. He knows my dad, and last year he said if I ever needed help, I should tell him. So about a week ago, I needed help, and I told him, and here I am. You talked to John last year? The kid nodded. Some of my friends said he was a good guy, so I checked him out, Just started shooting the breeze with him one afternoon when I was in detention. He was working on something in the room, light switch or something. He was just easy to talk to. Like, first, I just asked what he was doing, and he didn't brush me off. Really told me stuff, showed me how the circuits worked, the whole deal. I'm interested in stuff like that, and he could tell, so he just kept showing. Then he asks me my name, and I say I'm Eddie Walson, and that's when he tells me if I ever need help, look him up. Turns out he knows my dad from the VFW. Jack shook his head, not understanding the VFW. Eddie said, that little white house near the diner downtown has the sign, Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW. It's like a club for guys that were in the service, spotting wars and stuff. Guys can help each other, talk about problems and stuff. War messes a lot of guys up. Messed up my dad. He was in the National Guard, and his unit got called up for Desert Storm, the Gulf War. Jack nodded. Anyway, that's how come John knew my dad, and that's how come I'm here. Eddie was done being sociable. Standing up, he said, you want to get out of here, right? Jack nodded. Yeah. Where are we anyway? Eddie said, about a block away from the fire station. How do you get into the tunnels? Find an open door? Jack said, sort of, at my school. That where you found the sword? Jack nodded. Eddie nodded back and said, cool. Jack pointed at the wall near the corner of the refrigerator. He took 2 steps closer and bent down to read. Did you sign the guest list? You bet, said Eddie. I'm part of the Huntington history now. Jack scanned the list. He turned on his flashlight so he could read the names. They had been written on a smooth patch of white concrete with pencils and markers, even a crayon or two, dozens of names, going all the way back to the 1970s. Then Jack did a double take. The first name on the wall was Lou Carswell, 1973. Jack wanted to look at every name, but Eddie had run out of patience. The best place to get out is where I do. John knows this guy at the fire station, and he gave me a key to the door that comes out in the basement hallway there. That's where the steam comes from. There's a big boiler at the fire station, still heats the library and the town hall. Keeps me toasty too, so let's go. Jack almost had to trot to keep up with Eddie's longer strides. There were no lights once they left the living area, but Eddie didn't slow down and he didn't use a flashlight. Jack thought maybe Eddie is evolving. Maybe one day Eddie will have no eyes at all. In 5 minutes, they came to an opening in the wall, and Eddie said, this is it. He ducked into the opening and flipped a switch by the door. A dim bulb lit the short corridor. Eddie listened by the door. There were voices on the other side. They got louder and then began to get fainter. Eddie pulled out a key and put it into the lock, but held up his hand. He whispered, wait a minute or so. Anybody sees you out there, just tell them you came in the back door to use the bathroom. That's right down the hall to the left. After half a minute of silence, Eddie asked, what grade you in? Jack said, 5th. So you're at the old high school this year, right? Jack nodded. When you see John, tell him Eddie says hi, okay? Jack said, I'll tell him. And listen, John's a good guy to know. Like, if you ever get in trouble, I mean, like real trouble, you ought to get to know him. Jack said, yeah, I'm going to do that. It was quiet in the hallway, so Eddie opened the door a crack. Jack said, "Eddie, I think you should keep this sword, okay? I don't know. I don't think I better try to carry it through downtown." Eddie took the sword and hefted appreciatively. He nodded. "Cool." Jack said, "Hey, do you have any gum, Eddie?" Eddie reached into his pocket. "Yeah. What flavor?" asked Jack. Eddie pulled out an open pack. "Watermelon. Want a piece?" Jack smiled and said, "No, thanks." Eddie opened the door and said, "See you, little buddy." Jack stepped back. Jack stepped out. "So long, Eddie." "Thanks." And Eddie closed the door. Oh, that chapter was really sweet. And it's unfortunate that some kids are living homeless by themselves, even without an adult. So, this is a part of reality that was put into this book. And I love the visuals in this book, the way that the author describes what's going on. You can leave your comments in the description box, in the comment section below. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one, Lord willing. I think we just have one chapter left. Like and subscribe. Bye.